wanted to attempt to give you my understanding of the law in the area and how it will be applicable in this case to kind of guide your decision and hopefully narrow it for you. The first issue surrounds State Route 3016. None of State Route 3016 borders the actual project. Also, it's a state route. By Pennsylvania statute and case law, Penn Dot has exclusive jurisdiction to decide the safety, width, road, construction, and everything else, and it's my opinion that you have no ability to alter their judgment. The second reason I think that you have no ability to make a judgment regarding State Route 3016 is that, as I mentioned, the municipality's planning code provides that you have the right to include in ordinances the ability to determine road width and safety and all that relative to roads in and bordering land developments. Now, that provision is also limited in that there's another section of the statute that says that you cannot condition approval on a land development application on a developer completing off-site improvements. So to the extent that State Route 3016 does not border the project, you have no ability to require any improvements or disapprove the application because of that. Dealing with Township Road 950, to the extent it does not border the project, again, you have no ability to require any off-site improvements or make judgments on that issue. The portion that does border the project, that's where you would have the ability to determine the safety of that road, the portion of it that borders the project. And that is it. The other issue that I know was raised regarding the increase in traffic. A case has, by the Commonwealth Court, has specifically stated that the statute relating to your ability to determine width of road and everything in the one section that I mentioned, even if it borders, states that, but it does not give the Planning Commission authority to deny an otherwise permitted use simply because of the increase in traffic which ordinarily accompanies that use. In this instance, the only zoning in that area is airport zoning, and there's been a permit issued for that because it complies with the county's airport zoning ordinance. And so any use is permitted in that area by that property, and so the use that they're going to put it to and the increase in traffic cannot be a reason for you to deny the application. And given those are my legal opinions. You're welcome to accept or reject those, but in my opinion, your only ability tonight would be to determine the safety, width, and construction of the Township Road 950 as it relates to that portion bordering the project only.
Okay, well, thank you, John. Any questions for John, Commission? Kevin, Township Road 950.
Yes.
How does that go?
We do have a driveway occupancy permit here that was issued in March by Piney Township for an access into the development. And been approved by them to Piney, and we have a copy of that. So we know that the access itself is acceptable to Piney Township. They are the only roadway that does border this project, T950. So that is complete. I've been out, it is a quite long tangent section of roadway. Apparently there is no problem with sight distance for pulling in and out, or I would have thought Piney would, for one thing, have commented on that. The other thing is that the speed that we see here, apparently it is not an issue with Piney Township as driveway permit.
The driveway permit was issued to Clarion County.
Clarion County, I mean, yes.
Not Piney Creek.
Clarify the name, Clarion County Environmental Services, it's in their name. There are specifications on it for roadway widths and right-of-way widths on the township road and everything, they're all spelled out on the application. Because I had contacted Piney previously and requested this information, and they never did issue anything in writing back to me personally, but we do have a copy of that driveway permit which they issued to Clarion County. So they must be satisfied with their portion of the road where that would not have been issued, is my take.
So, as per Solicitor Marshall's analysis of this situation, that is really, in terms of roadway, pretty much the only jurisdiction that we have is the Planning Commission.
Yeah, it's just similar to when we do land developments on a state route, and we require highway occupancy permits and Penn Dot also. And we do have one that has been approved here by this township.
Any changes or additions or comments on the land development application since last time?
Nothing to speak of, no, other than the fact I received that application since the last meeting. I can give you a rundown on my take on the whole project if you'd like to have a short summary.
That'd be great.
The land development application for preliminary approval is complete. I've reviewed it many, many times since January. It is a complete application, everything is there. All the application forms are complete and enclosed in the application. The stormwater management plan and the erosion and sedimentation control plan were both approved by Clarion County Soil Conservation Service personnel, Bernie Sposio. As John mentioned, the only zoning in this area is the airport zoning, and an application was submitted to this office and has been approved. The airport zoning requirement in this situation here is for any structures over 35 feet in height. There is a stack that is to be put on the building that will be 42 feet, 5 inches in height. So it exceeds the 35-foot minimum, or maximum, I would call it. So that has been approved. That is all judged by elevations from the radius from the airport and everything, the flying elevations. And there's definitely no problem there. So the airport zoning application is approved. The site plans have been modified several times to be accurate, and from going through them and looking at them, the newest submission is complete and they are accurate. And no modification applications are needed on this project. According to our saldo requirements, everything complies. There is no modification request needed, in our opinion, and none has been asked for.
Okay, thank you, Kip. Any questions by committee members for Kevin? Christie? Any discussion? Okay, we'll be conducting a roll call vote tonight, so you'll each be called by name for the record for your vote on this. Any other discussion? Okay. We'll consider the preliminary approval, disapproval of land development application. I'll entertain a motion.
Snyder makes a motion to approve.
Got a motion for approval by Mr. Snyder. Do I hear a second?
Anderson, second.
And a second by Mr. Anderson. We've got a proper motion and a second to provide preliminary approval of this land development application. Roll call vote.
Chuck Williams,
Yay?
Angela Bertner, Joe Burns,
For the record, abstention.
Record show Mr. Burns abstains.
Brett Anderson,
Yay.
Keith Becker,
Yay.
Steve Kettner,
Yay.
Rayburn Smith,
Yay.
Jack Snyder,
Yeah.
Kevin Wilson.
Yay.
Okay, we got a proper motion and a second and a unanimous roll call vote to approve the land development application, Clarion County and Piney Township. Now, the second item here is to authorize our solicitor, John Marshall, to draft the findings and conclusion report. As you remember from last month's meeting, we had a lot of information that was submitted. John, did you want to say a word or two about that?
Yeah, the purpose in that is that we have the right to make findings and conclusions and submit them in the event any appeal is filed with the court. The court would be bound by those findings and conclusions unless the findings have no support in the record or don't have credible support in the record, and unless our findings of law are in error, the judge normally abides by those unless he decides to take additional evidence, and that would be his decision in every case. So I felt it would be important with all the evidence, or not evidence, but all the information that you've received, it would be wise in this case for you to make those findings and conclusions and submit those for the court's consideration.
Any questions for John on that? Now I'll entertain a motion. This will also be a roll call vote.
Wilson moves.
Got a motion by Mr. Wilson
Smith seconds.
and a second by Mr. Smith. We've got a proper motion and a second to authorize our solicitor, John Marshall, to draft the findings and conclusion report in regards to Clarion County Environmental Services application. Roll call vote.
Rose Williams,
Yes.
Angela Bertner, Joe Burns,
Abstention.
Let the record show that Mr. Burns abstains.
Fred Anderson,
Yes.
Keith Decker,
Yes.
Steve Kettner,
Yes.
Rayburn Smith,
Yes.
Jack Snyder,
Yes.
Kevin Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, we have a majority vote to authorize John Marshall to draft a findings and conclusion report. Next action is to approve holding a special meeting to take action on the findings and conclusions report. John, some comment on that?
Yes, the written decision needs to be out within 15 days. And so that's the reason for the special meeting is that I will attempt to have proposed findings and conclusions to you within a week of tonight's meeting. And I would propose that we then have a special meeting to approve those and to approve the letter approving the project at the same time approved to be sent out to the applicant and to whatever landowners request one, and present us with a written request with a name and address on the request so that we can make sure that they get a copy of the decision if they want one. And of course, we will provide one, I will provide one after you vote on it to the attorneys that made their appearances here.
And that's the only thing that will be discussed at that meeting.
That is the only thing that will be discussed at that special meeting.
Very good. Any other questions for John on this particular agenda item, action item? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Anderson, motion to approve.
Snyder, second.
All right, this will also be a roll call vote. We've got a proper motion and a second to approve holding a special meeting to take action on the findings and conclusion report in regards to the Clarion County land development application. Oh, yes. Likely 1 week from today was probably the best unless there's problems with that. Unfortunately, I will be out of town on business myself, but we'll make sure that we do have a quorum. 7 o'clock, usual. Does that work?
We don't have, do we have to advertise that?
Yes.
48 hours?
That's 26. Oh, I'm the wrong one.
22.
This location.
We need to include that in the
Okay. Let me append my motion here. We have motion to approve a special meeting which will take place on 25 April 2012 for a meeting to take action on the findings and conclusion report in regards to the Clarion Altel Environmental Services
At 7 p.m.
at 7 p.m. Thank you. Questions, comments, roll call vote?
Charles Williams,
Yes.
Angela Burtner, Joe Burns,
Yes.
Fred Anderson,
Yes.
Keith Decker,
Yes.
Steve Kettner,
Yes.
Rayburn Smith,
Yes.
Jack Snyder,
Yes.
Kevin Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, we do have a majority vote on this particular action, and we will hold a special meeting on the findings and conclusions report in regards to the Clarion Altel Environmental Services proposal on 25 April 2012 at 7 o'clock, and that meeting will be here. Okay. Moving on. New business. Stanley McCleary and Jeffrey McCleary, minor subdivision application for preliminary approval of that's in Beaver Township.
They are proposing to create 4 new lots, ranging in size from 1.169 acres to 2.252 acres. There's no issue with lot sizes. They close proximity to the non-borough water and sewer system, so they will be tying into those. However, to complete that, they need to run lines. So that is why they can only apply for preliminary approval at this time, because the water and sewer lines will not reach in to these particular parcels yet.
We just cover things.
So, everything else is okay, there's no issues with anything. The Florida maps here, if anybody wants to look at any of them.
These are planned to be,
Yeah, they're just residential lots.